Let's talk about using your books at your table. I use physical books, even when I'm running an online game. And I recommend it. I think we are closer to the game itself when we are playing, D&D or any role-playing game. When we're playing with a physical book at our table, I think we're closer to the game than when we're engaging in the game with a bunch of digital tools. Regardless of how you play, either online or in person, you can use physical books right at your table. You can use them right there. I do it. I do it with all of my games. It provides greater flexibility. It's easier to use. It's faster to use, and it provides greater flexibility and speed when compared to a lot of the overhead of digital tools. And they'll never fail you. Those solid books are sitting there. They're not going to break down on you. They're not going to be used a different way. And you're just closer to the game itself. Now, I'm offering this as a recommendation, but I recognize there are lots of people out there who really like their fully integrated virtual tabletops. I am not telling you you're doing it wrong. If you are happy that way, I am not in your way. That is fantastic. Foundry and Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds with their fully integrated virtual tabletop components where you can even apply the damage that a monster did to the character with like a single click, where you have these digital compendiums that include like all of the tokens and all of the stats and all one-click die rolling. People really love that stuff. And if you really love it, you don't need my help on this topic, right? You're good. But I will tell you that there is another way. And for some people who are kind of on the fence about it and other people who are like trying out different things, try out running physical books at your table. So you do not need to get upset about me or tell me that, no, I love my digital tools, Mike, you're just a jerk. That's probably true. I am just a jerk. But also, I am not saying you're doing it wrong. You are absolutely right. But I'm saying there are other ways too. And there are some people who, are searching around on different ways. And I find that a lot of people kind of put aside the idea of using physical books at the table. They kind of think you can't do it or you shouldn't do it or that it's going to be too slow. And it's not really true. The physical books are great and they work just fine for online play. I've been using them for online play for a long time and I really, really like them. So why? Why would you want to use physical books at the table? Well, one, they require almost no or very little prep. The very little prep could be what I'll talk about in one of the tips, which is tabbing your books so that it's easier for you to reference them when you're actually using them at the table. But generally speaking, just open them and use them. If somebody has a rule question, somebody wants to look up a spell, grab the book, go find the spell. The more comfortable you are using the book, the faster it will be. If you have, for example, a 2024 Player's Handbook and you're looking up spells, it becomes much faster when you know roughly where they are inside of the book. So don't be afraid to use the book. Don't be afraid to open it up to look at stuff. It can really work. Physical books are just more reliable than digital books. Digital tools change, stuff breaks down, connections don't get made. The physical book is the exact same way every time you use it. It's not going to break down. You're not going to have a network error. You're not going to have something where, the recent patch changed something slightly and now I don't know how to use it. The book is the book is the book, and it always kind of works the same way. It's also easier to switch out other parts of your digital stack when you have a more modular set of tools that you use. This is true in digital tools overall, but it's also true if you're using your physical books. If you decide Discord isn't working for you and you decide you want to switch over to Zoom, you could just do that and you're not going to lose a whole lot because the rest of your digital stack works fine. A lot of people don't use the tools to talk to one another inside the same virtual tabletop that they use for other things. I'm not even sure that Foundry has that. I presume they have something, but I don't know what they are. I know Roll20 does, but I know that a lot of people never really used it. They all use Discord. So you're already kind of splitting up your stack anyway. Well, one of those splits could be using physical books. You really don't care about any of the other tools that you use because you're using your physical books. It also means that you can use different physical books and all you have to do is grab the book. If you decide you want to use some Kobold Press monsters in your game, you don't have to figure out how to import all of those Kobold Press monsters into your new system, or the fact that, I can't use Black Flag monsters next to my D&D 2024 monsters inside Foundry because they're both kind of different sets. That's not a problem when you're using physical books. You just stack the two books and grab whichever book you're going to use and off you go. So there's a lot, that's what that speed and flexibility really matters. There's also just something fun about playing with physical books. It feels more like the original game. It feels fun. And using physical dice, I also use physical dice, and the other part is you can use physical dice, it's really fun to roll actual dice and use a physical book. There's something in our internet connected age of the tactile nature of using physical stuff is just more fun. And so you can capture more of that, and your players can capture more of that when they're using physical books too. Recommend that they do use physical books. So it's not perfect, right? And there are definitely times where digital stuff is nicer. Obviously, flexibility, transportability, the idea that I always have all the stuff that I need on my phone anywhere in the world, that's really nice. I don't have to bring my books everywhere. Books obviously take a lot of space and they can cost a lot of money. So a lot of people have limited space. They can't carry all those books. They can't store all those books somewhere. Having them in PDF or having them in digital is obviously a much bigger advantage. There is definitely a big draw to having like a fully integrated RPG experience. It feels smoother. It feels like, okay, that idea that I can just click a link, roll the damage, and apply the damage to a character, and nobody has to do any math. Nobody has to add all the dice up. It just feels fast. That's a real big draw. I will argue, though, that a lot of time that sort of connection breaks down. It sort of falls apart. Different little edge cases come up where it doesn't work right. Oh, I don't have the right monster, or this monster does things slightly differently, or I need to change things, but you can't quite change them. And it suddenly becomes much harder to work with the digital tool than it would be if you just rolled dice and used a physical book. So there's just some times where the draw is there, but it really isn't as beneficial as it can seem. So I want to end with some tips for using physical books at the table. One, use adhesive tabs. You can buy little adhesive tabs. You can draw on them. You can write on them with a pen. Use adhesive tabs to mark your books. You can mark up your player handbooks and your GM guides with the most referenced pages that you use. What I like to do is start at the back of the book and then start tabbing on the bottom outside edge and then working my way up. So when you're done, you have top to bottom, front to back tabbing. And you don't just want to tab the chapters. You want to tab the sections that you most often use. If you're a player, put a tab at the section for your character class so you can very quickly get to your character class section. If you're a GM, go find those sections of the Game Master's Guide that you reference regularly and tab those. But adhesive tabs are a super power tool for marking up your books and making your books more useful. I tab all of my books. I think they're really great, so I would definitely use that. You can drop in, a trick I have is I put about 3 or 4 adhesive tabs in the back of my monster manuals or my monster books. And then I can put those tabs wherever I need the monsters, I can put those tabs in the book wherever I'm going to use a monster in the next game or in the session that I'm in right now. And that way, those move around a lot. I don't have to tab every single monster. I don't put them like alphabetical list. Instead, I just tab that monster, and then I can move the tabs around when I'm changing what monsters I'm using in a game. So for the monster books in particular, you can use that. I'll tell you, an inexpensive book stand or easel can make a big difference. In my online game, I have a small tabletop easel, little bamboo easel that's got little arms that hold the pages in place. And I have the easel with the book sitting next to me while I'm working on my computer or when I have my laptop in front of me when I'm running the rest of the game. And then I have like note cards and my physical dice, so I can I can write things with a pencil, and I can use dice. Again, super flexible. But the little easel is definitely nice. It's really good if you've got some good table space for it. If you don't have table space, one trick that I've used is to buy a music stand. I heard somebody mention this, and I thought this is a great idea. So whoever you are who mentioned that you use a music stand, I really like this idea. You can buy a music stand pretty cheap. They stand up on their own, and you can set it up next to your table. So it kind of sits, it's really handy when you don't have a lot of table space. You can put this music stand, put the book on the music stand, put little arms on that. And then you have a book that you can just turn to your left and see. And it works really well. I like that a lot. Another thing is you can get a little clip-on light that can either clip onto the book or clip onto the stand that you've got that bends over and shines a light on it. It makes it easier to read. And if you are a player or GM of a certain age, get a set of, these aren't bumper glasses, but you can get a set of bumper glasses or reading glasses, different magnifications that make it far easier to read the book. If you're finding you're squinting a little bit to read a book, try some 1x or 1.5x reading glasses. They're like $3. They're super cheap, and they really make it easier to read books, particularly books that have small print. So those are some tricks for actually using physical books at your table. Again, you can use it whether you're playing online or you're playing in person. And there's something just nice about getting that close to the physical book itself. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, the best thing you can do to stay on top of all of the things that I'm doing is subscribing to the Sly Flourish newsletter. It is absolutely free to sign up. There is a link down in the show notes. You get a free adventure generator for signing up, and you get a weekly RPG-related article directly to your inbox. You can also support me directly on Patreon. Patrons get access to things like the 5e Artisanal Monster Database, random tips, tools, tricks, resources, all different kinds of stuff you get for being a patron of Sly Flourish. It is a really, really good deal. Lots of awesome stuff. And you help me put on shows like this. And you can pick up any of my books on the Sly Flourish bookstore. Links for all of that are in the show notes. Thank you so much. Have a great day and get out there and play an RPG.